thin. Definitely not designed for cars. 1828 is one of the oldest that we've ever been to. And as always, there's occasionally stuff that was here before it was actually officially founded, so you never really know. So right now we are actually down the road from the highest point in Indiana, and so arguably this is probably the highest graveyard in Indiana. It spans about a couple acres, it looks like here. Obviously, as we saw, founded in 1828, although we might end up finding some older stuff here. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see if we can find some veterans from the Revolutionary War and possibly the War of 1812. And there's this really interesting looking, I think it's a war memorial right in front of us here, so let's check it out. So it looks like the flag is being flown at half-mast, although there's no wind out today, so it's pretty much just draped there. Although it kind of just looks like it's tied to the side anyway. It's kind of interesting. Not seeing any real signage around it, so I'm kind of wondering if maybe it was just sort of a decorative installation that was put here when the cemetery was first built. No dedication sign, no names, nothing whatsoever. There are a couple markers really close to it. Not seeing any writing that's really legible. Again, with the added contrast from the camera, it might be easier once we get back to the command center, but there is some legible writing on this side here. And it looks like there is historic stuff, again, just kind of scattered throughout the place. There's a big section of it in the opposite direction up front, and then there's a big section back here. So we'll head back this way first. Again, it appears to be a little bit deeper than I was first anticipating. Look at this right here. I don't find any of these too often. It's like just a concrete mold with, I'm not sure exactly what these are. Almost feels like a plastic. Might have been a replacement at some point for some metal numbers and letters. I'm not really sure. And then immediately next to it is another one of the same design, but a lot larger. And then you can see in the top there's been a star that's been placed there. Wow, and you can see already that there's a lot of stuff going all the way down the hill here, and maybe even into the woods. And as we usually see, lots and lots of stuff that has fallen over and is being slowly buried by time and weather around here. Wow. So again, one of those things where it looks like maybe fairly recently they were clearing out some brush and found something. Kind of looks like there was a fire over here, and I can't really tell if that's what caused them to find it, because there's no real scorch marks or any black carbon residue that's left here. However, there does appear to be some things in the woods though too. And I don't know if they're just discarded items, but you can see right here is a very large vase. And there's even, looks like something metal behind it. Can't really tell, that might be part of some farmer's machinery there. But then right here you can see a base stone, and then behind it here another one, and I'm not sure what that is to the right of it. It might be another square shaped vase, but I mean, we can tell for sure that this is a legitimate standing headstone, and it's unlikely that it was discarded and then just stood back up over here. It'd be kind of a strange thing that I haven't really seen before. There's definitely just some spare fencing and stuff that way. And over here, really interesting coloring. I hope that that comes out well on camera. Just sort of almost liquid in its appearance. And beautiful writing. And again, like I've said so many times, just kind of strange to me how it can be exactly like this here, and then one memorial over, you have this incredibly tall stone, which is so fragile, but has yet stood the test of time so well. And even the writing is still looking absolutely beautiful. So continuing back over to the other side and heading down this edge here, you can see a few more items that probably were at one time beyond the borders and had to be rescued. Again, there could be many reasons as to why it became like that, or it could have been sort of designed like that, sadly, from the beginning. But stuff like this next to it is a little bit odd. Clearly just sort of left behind, but still within the borders. It's another one. There's a real steep hill. Makes me wonder if there's anything that's slid down, but so far, again, not seeing anything at all. As we've seen, there's been a few little pockets that have been dug out over the years. There seems to be a lot of damage here in the rear section. You see this whole row is fallen over and deteriorated. It almost looks like several times. There's things here that don't even seem to really go together anymore. Wow, this one here is really leaning over badly. And yet, if I wasn't too careful, I would step right on this one here, which has almost completely disappeared. Let's see if there's even a way to see a name. Slight view of the name here, really difficult to read. And another little pocket here. So this one here is sheared in half. You can see real clearly a clean cut piece behind there. But the good news is it really could be put back together fairly easily. It's so thick right down there. So I'm kind of almost thinking that, or guaranteeing perhaps, that there's probably a few things that have been lost. You can see these are very badly damaged and were probably lost for quite a few years before they were found. And again, as you can tell, there's this really large berth here where there's no growth, and it looks like somebody has come in and sprayed something or taken a weed whacker to it. And trying to see through again into the woods, and I'm not really seeing anything. That's a huge one. See, 1858 there. And at the bottom here, I think that is the person or a company that designed and manufactured the stone. And some more poetry here. Can't really decipher what it says at the moment though. I will go ahead and try when I get back, but who knows. I am spotting something outside the bounds though. See, right next to it here is one that's completely lost behind this log here and in the brush. So as I've said before, you never really know how much is actually back there, and there really could be a lot more. So we're kind of getting close to the very corner here, and lots of mid to larger size stones here, and a little one here that I'm not really sure where it came from or where it goes. It seems to be very out of place here. As we can see, the row is fairly tightly packed and have to come from quite a ways down there, or it was somewhere along the edge of the hill here, which we can check to see pretty easily here if anything's fallen. Looks like there's something right there. That might be their original base stone for that one. Let's go take a look. So again, almost probably 1/8 of the way down the hill, we run into this here, which is not just a base stone, it is a severed headstone. So there is stuff back here for sure, but again, seems to be fairly few and far between, so I guess that's hopeful at least. This is a rough one to come out of. So wow, I wasn't really expecting that one either. I should, I guess, come to expect it, but it's like, it almost seems like it's those areas that you think you're not gonna really find anything. You think it might be just a little open area in the bush, and then you look in and there's something. We can see the rest of the way here, there's actually a very clear fence line, and it looks like a fairly old one too. And so right in here is where I'm thinking that very end stone could be originally located. You can see a fairly large gap in between these two, and it just kind of looks natural. And if we look the rest of the way down the row, you can see again it's fairly tightly packed except for in that one specific area. There's no sign of any base stone here anywhere. I am seeing a few chunks of stone, but yeah, kind of hard to tell. Well, for the moment, I think what I want to do is head up towards this signage up here and then around to some more historical stuff on the front side. You can see quite an amazing area out here. Really beautiful day, and ended up getting pretty lucky as a lot of this area was actually covered in thunderstorms over the last few days. So the fact that I could even get out and do anything today was pretty great. So this here is where we drove in, and there was at one time an actual swinging gate that was here. You can see the old hinges there on the side and over on the other side as well. Looks like one of them's missing over here, but right here it would have been attached and been able to swing. And then I'm not sure when this would have been installed. Obviously the chain link design is fairly new, but it doesn't look like it even works anymore. Yeah, most definitely doesn't. But it has become a great place to store beer bottles, so I guess there's that. So it does look like there's a few things around this tree. I'm not sure if it's actually touching or not. There's one right here. And other than that, I'm not really seeing anything. But for being so tiny and sheared off like this, again, the writing looks incredible. And then another one directly down from it here. I thought it looked like there might be another car parked and check me out. He's definitely heading this way, so we'll see. Yeah, almost impossible to read this one. Well, somebody actually has gotten out. I think they're just putting a sign on the side of the road or stopping to, I really can't tell. It doesn't look like they're here for me. I have this one here. You can see the hand carved lettering in here still. Usually we find these and they're just completely blank. You can even see 1892 carved into it. I don't think I've ever found one of these intact, and you can see how they get destroyed here really easily because it shears off in layers and actually can be peeled back. And at the very corner here, past a few more stones that have been knocked over time, there is another geological survey marker. I don't find these too often, even in cemeteries. They're pretty neat looking and kind of cool to find. And just beyond it here is something else. I don't know, again, what it was or if it had anything to do whatsoever with this particular cemetery, but kind of looks like it. And looking down here, there is a row that should have gone this way. I was kind of expecting to look over and see goats. I'm not sure where they are, but they're incredibly loud and really nearby. It must be at the farm around the corner here. And again, if anybody knows what this particular type of stone is here that's so colorful like this, let me know. What is this? Oh wow. So you can kind of tell that this was a homemade design, really thin etching here, and I'm not sure, this is like a little, it looks like a little mistake where I'm not, again, really familiar with the process or what would have happened, but it looks like somebody's hand might have slipped. And you see 1834, so incredibly old. Another one here that's in really sad condition. You can barely, again, tell that it's a headstone at all. And it just sort of looks like a rock that's been stood up and carved. Thank you all for watching this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for more. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you've never hit subscribe before. We're doing these about 4 times every single week. And as always, I will see you guys in our next adventure.